Well, I feel like I've made my feelings about Steak-Umms pretty clear on this podcast, so I'm not going to go into the merits of them as a food or snack.
Refresh. Steak-Umms are not dog treats. What are they?
Steak-Umms are delicious, skilletable slices of red meat that you can cook on the stove and put in sandwiches, and they're freaking awesome. And they were a staple of my childhood diet.
Got it.
Steak-Umms. Evidently, still around, still seem to be doing pretty well. And they've taken an interesting strategy on social media. You know, I think we've talked about them in the past. Instead of going the Wendy's route, where they're just, kind of just biting and sarcastic and funny, they've gotten a little philosophical on some things that, up to now, it's been just fine. Hey, a take on what social media is doing to our ability to communicate. Sure, whatever. That's great. What a great take. Thanks, Steak-Umm. But they picked a fight, unsolicited, that I found very odd this week. Did you guys see about this Steak-Umm feud?
No.
Nah, I'm not really tuned into the Steak-Umm's world.
Guys, Steak-Umm's content, flagpole content, this is not a lot happening this week in the world of the internet. They picked a fight with the most unlikely person, for no reason. Steak-Umm's decided to get beef, no pun intended, with Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist and noted science personality. For no reason, they're picking a fight with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Steak-Umm. And so here's how it started, with Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeting something relatively innocuous about science. He said, "The good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it." Okay, something you would expect a scientist to say, right? I'm not going to, why would anyone have a problem with that? Sure, the whole construct of science is observable, and if you can observe it, it's got to be true. Okay, got it. Thanks, Neil. Pretty standard Neil deGrasse Tyson stuff.
Sure.
Steak-Umm's quote tweeted this, okay? Steak-Umm's, the brand. I'm going to read 3 tweets that they did. They said, "The irony of Neil's tweet is that by framing science itself as quote-unquote true, he's influencing people to be more skeptical of it in a time of unprecedented misinformation. Science is an ever-refining process to find truth, not a dogma. No matter his intent, this message isn't helpful."
Okay, I got to be honest with you. That is correct. That's what my first thought was. Science isn't fact. Science is a process of observation to determine what is true ultimately. But science isn't true. Science is a process.
Well,
Steak-Umm's is right. That's what I'm saying.
They followed up with this, "Log off, bro." Okay, show a little respect to Neil. You took it from an intellectual debate that Neil deGrasse Tyson wasn't trying to have with Steak-Umm. He didn't wake up that morning thinking, "I'm going to go promote Science Day on Twitter. I hope I get in a beef with Steak-Umm." Because they took it from intellectual, fair enough, okay? Let's get into the nuances of the scientific method, to "log off, bro." You're talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson. You show a little respect. Then they followed it up with this. And this is the doubling down that I don't know if I appreciate, Steak-Umm. I've been a long time advocate of your brand, but I don't see anything productive happening from these type of conversations. They followed up with this. "The role of science communicators has arguably never been more important than it is today." Again, Steak-Umm, I didn't need this commentary from you. People need more relatable, nuanced explanation that encourage critical thinking and less pompous, clout-chasing sound bites that sow polarization. That's what he was doing, Steak-Umm? Then they followed up this. "Obligatory thread to remind people that we're a brand selling products, so everything we do is based on self-interest to grow our business." How does this grow your business? I get we're talking about Steak-Umm, but who's going to be like, "Oh man, are they the ones picking beefs with scientists on Twitter? I think I'm going to go eat them for lunch today." It's just a very odd strategy that Steak-Umm's is trying in real time on Twitter right now.
They're doing what they do, which is, listen, that is the only way in the year 2021 with all these algorithms to be able to bring attention to your brand, is to just do something outlandish. So let's have a intellectual beef with Neil deGrasse Tyson with a steak company.
Yeah,
well, steak is in quotes. I don't even know if we can technically call it steak.
Legally, they have to call it a Steak-Umm.
Steak-Umm.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Steak-Umm, yeah.
Let's have an intellectual beef over science via this, and now we're talking about it on the Relevant podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jesse
Now
fell for it
people
again.
are
He's
gonna go
giving.
buy
It's
some
not
Steak-Umms.
falling from it. It's not falling for it. I feel like this isn't like setting. I don't feel like they set this publicity trap. This isn't like
I don't know.
a stunt. I think that what I honestly think this is an indictment on just how like toxic and dumb Twitter debates have gotten. Like, I don't think they're doing this in a self-aware way. I think they want to be. I think whoever's. No, there is no self-awareness. It's not like, hey, but we loved Cosmos, Neil, or like, hey, but join us for a steak, Neil. It's log off, bro. Like, that seems like, why are you coming at me? Like, why Steak-Umm just randomly picking a fight? I think it's just, I honestly, here's what I think it is. I think everyone, including brands, feel an obligation to speak into things that aren't their lane because that's just how Twitter's evolved. You see it a lot, obviously, in like circles we all run in, where just because like someone is a noted leader in the Christian space, and their background might be in relationships, it might be in finance, it might be in theology, but all of a sudden they feel like they gotta now, I'm not saying everybody, but there are people who just feel like, well, because I have some platform, I am obligated to share my opinion on everything, whether I'm an expert about it or not. And that it's escalated to the point where it's not even that newsworthy that a steak company is picking a fight publicly with a noted intellectual in the science space. It just seems bonkers to me, but also a weird indictment of just how Twitter's evolved,
Like, they should just stick to the Steak-Umms.
Yeah,
I mean, or pick fights in their
Shut
lane.
up and dribble,
like,
Steak-Umms.
Like,
yeah.
Tell Steak-Umms to shut up and dribble.
dude, you did. You just told him to shut up and dribble.
Look, man, if Steak-Umm wants to come at Sizzler, do it. I'd watch. Hey, gloves off. Steak-Umm v. Sizzler.
You are literally the person who tells LeBron James via Twitter to shut his mouth about social issues or education or whatever. Shut up and dribble. You just told Steak-Umms. You just told Steak-Ums to shut up and dribble. Derek's dead on right.
LeBron James is a role model to millions of children around the world that is using his platform to speak into social issues. You show me one kid with a Steak-Umm jersey.
Steak-Umm's raised you. You said it yourself that Steak-Umm's raised you. Why would you speak to your forefather like this?
Your forefather.
Your babysitter like this.
I didn't think you'd be so close-minded, Jesse. I didn't think you'd be so close-minded.
Like I
respect
said,
your elders, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's not even John Steak-Umm out there.
You don't know.
Like,
it might be John Steak-Umm.
Sign it, John Steak-Umm. Sign it, John Steak-Umm. Maybe I'll show you more. Show yourself, Steak-Umm. Show yourself.
His name is John Steak-Umm. Is that the actual person?
No.
Okay. I was like,
It's Peter Steak-Umm.
This is amazing.
I was going to say, if you were born with the name John Steak-Umm, I feel like your path is pretty clear.
You're
like, I'm going to the steak. I'm going to the steak business.
Simulated meat company. Yeah.